Hey guys, my name is Olivia, and today I will be recording an interview with Julia.
Hello.
Julia were in 1 year in the USA, and today she will tell us how it looks like and go on.
Yeah, all
so,
right.
my first question is
Mm-hmm.
why did you apply to Flex program and
Mm-hmm.
what were the conditions?
So, honestly, I was always fascinated by traveling and like having different exchanges. And I always followed different people during their exchanges. But I always thought, um, I'm not really able to do that because I thought the costs of like going abroad are very high and I couldn't afford it. So when I found out about Flex program, I was really happy and I just thought I have to apply since the costs during when you're in a flex program are not that important because it's fully sponsored by Department of State. Um, and some of the conditions. So basically, what you have to do to like get into the program, you obviously just have to apply. But one of the most important things are that flex program. When I applied, it was for the teenagers from the last year of middle school and from the first and second year of high school. So basically, you just needed to be in that age group, and then you could apply. And the whole application process is a bit long, but it's very easy. So basically, everyone can do it.
Nice. uh, can you tell us what it looks like to study in American school and
Hmm.
what's the difference between our Polish school
Hmm.
that American one?
Okay, so like there are many differences. Let me tell you, many. Like those are two completely different worlds, a Polish school and an American one. So first of all, it was way bigger than our high school in Pniewy. It was um around 1,500 people as far as I remember. So it was big, let me tell you. Um, and one thing about American high schools are that there's just such a big variety in everything, in people, in classes, and in extra activities. So you can find everything you want to do basically. Like everyone will find any like something he or she wants to do. Um, Also, people are very passionate about what they're doing. So, for example, if you're a music kid, you'll probably find yourself like spending a lot of time in the music department. If you like acting, you can like be a part of musicals or plays or write your own plays and perform them. Um, if you like sports, you can do track, you can be a football player, a baseball player, you can do soccer, you can do everything you want basically because they have just such a big variety of those sports, and like sports team are a big thing in those high schools. Like people really cheer up for them, and when there's a game night, people are just waiting for it. People are just ready to like go there and cheer them up and just make a party. It's really nice. I remember going to some of the football games. It was really amazing, let me tell you. Like the feeling of just people being able to enjoy such a simple thing is just amazing. um Also, some differences are that they have many different topics that we do not have. So for example, in Poland we have like obviously math, um history, biology, chemistry, and stuff like that. And it's all called like the basics, I would say. And in American high school, you have such a variety of classes you can take because like you create your own schedule. every year you're creating your own schedule, like based on some requirements, of course, but you're able to like choose whatever you want, basically. Um, so you can choose some fun classes, and there are such a variety of those fun classes. I remember when I went to the school for the first time and I had to choose my own schedule. I was just terrified because I didn't know most of those classes. I didn't know what they meant. And I got such a big book. It was that big. Um, with like descriptions of all of the classes I could take, and I just didn't know. So it was quite funny. I ended up taking some fun classes like Spanish, acting, choir, piano, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. Um, Also, I told you people are very passionate about what they're doing, so they're not sometimes they are not so focused on just studying. They're just focused on um like increasing their abilities to like do different stuff, especially when it comes to like doing what they really like. So for example, if you're a band kid, you're in a band, you find yourself in the music department, as I said, and you can also be in the choir, and you can be in the strings, and you can be in jazz band or whatever you like. The marching band, there's such a variety of that. Like you can just play whatever you want, and you can do whatever sport you want, and you can do some technical stuff. I don't really remember the names of them because there's just so many. Um, you really can do whatever you want. If you like to draw, you can draw on your classes. If you like to take pictures, you can take pictures. If you, I don't know, want to study about like a Second World War, you can take a history class that is especially focused on that period of time. If you like to, I don't know, do math, you can take like 8 different classes of math, and that's okay. Like no one can tell you you can't do it. um, so you basically have a big choice what you want to do, and I really liked it, and I think that's a thing that I would like in our schools to be. But also they have such a big variety of extracurricular activities that we do not have. For example, we in Poland sometimes can have some like extra classes where you can go and the teacher can help you out if you don't understand something on your classes. But they don't really have that because like if you don't understand something, you can always ask the teacher on a class or just text them, like leave them a message or something. Since we all had Chromebooks that we got from the school, like special tiny laptops that we use instead of books. um so yeah, instead of that they have activities like sports or acting or whatever you want to do, really. And usually when you're involved in something like that, you have to understand that you probably have to stay after school for, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours each day, every day. Because if you're involved in something, you just have to be really involved. So yeah, that's another thing. I would say meals also, since we got meals for free in high school. It's not like a normal thing because many schools don't do it. But in my school, we got breakfast after coming to school, um, and we got lunch for free. And you could choose whatever you wanted. You can choose um, the hot meal that was prepared each day, or you could choose a salad or some vegetables and fruit and everything. But um, it all was for free, so you didn't have to pay for it. Actually, the teachers had to pay for it. I don't know why, but the students didn't have to. So like, I don't remember. I don't think any teacher would buy it, but okay. Um, and yeah, what else? Um, I think the relation between the students and the teachers are different too. And I feel like here people have more respect to the teachers, but there they treat each other more like friends, and they're more like friends, I would say. Um, and yeah, like when you go to the class, you're not really stressed, and you just feel like you're gonna have a fun time and just actually learn something. And those classes look very different too. Um, they focus on actually doing something and like giving you the knowledge that you can use. Sometimes people still don't really get it, but at least the teachers try. And they do a lot of fun stuff. Since we had the Chromebooks, we did a lot of stuff on our computers and used different websites and everything. Did some quizzes or just some fun activities. And also, when we took tests, for example, it was all like ABCD. We didn't have to really write our answers, so that was fun.
Really?
I mean, it was easy, especially when you're a foreigner, to like understand everything. And also, if you don't understand something, the teachers knew you're from a different country and English is not your first language, so they were really open to help you out. I mean, obviously, they couldn't give you the answer, but
Wow.
um, yeah, I think those are the biggest differences, I would say. There are many more, but I think those are the biggest ones and the most obvious ones.
Uh, for me, that sounds really, really amazing, you know. Oh, wow. And
Yeah,
sorry for my dog, but she really needs my attention right now.
it's okay. He needs to be in that interview too. Let's include him.
um, so I think I'm really curious about what do you do after school,
hmm
and maybe tell something about American culture. Culture.
hmm Yeah, sure. So, the American culture is such a big topic too. So I'm just gonna start with my like extra activities. Um, I was playing piano. I was playing violin. Um, I was like after school, the whole spring I stayed for like 3 hours each day because I was involved in the spring musical. We were about to perform The Addams Family, but it actually didn't work out because of the coronavirus and because I had to go back home, so I wouldn't be there anyway. Um, and I was in the archery team. I really enjoyed it. Um, I took part in a few tournaments and I was pretty good for a beginner, I have to admit. So yeah, I also did a lot of volunteering because volunteering is a big part of American culture. Um, it's not that common in Poland, but um, it's a big part of their culture, and people are actually willing to do something for free to, help out the community or help out someone in need or just adopt dogs or cats from the animal shelter or foster kids or animals. People are just willing to do something. Of course, there are many that don't want to do that, but there are also many that are actually, able to take part in such activities. And I really liked it. And also, volunteering is a big part of Flex program that I wasn't a part of. Since it's all sponsored by the Department of State, so it's important for us as exchange students to give something back to the community while we are there. So you can either do some volunteering as, just help out some local organizations and give your work or your free
Oh,
time
yeah.
or I was I helped to organize something called Symphony Unites where um it was organized on a big ice rink downtown, and the symphony was playing, and yeah, like all the people from the symphony. And during that time, people danced on ice, and it was so magical. I will always remember that, I think. Um, I also helped to, for example, sell popcorn or um, what else did I do? I helped in a garden, in a local garden that grew. It's so gross, actually. Um, you know, food for homeless people, where homeless people can just go and get food for free. Um, and there were many, many activities like that. Um, and besides volunteering for local charities, you can also actually teach about your culture. And for example, for the International Education Week, me and my friends from different countries, from Greece, from Mongolia, from Thailand, we organized
Wow.
workshops where we taught people dances from our countries. So I taught Americans how to dance Polonaise. They actually liked it. They did like it. Um, I mean, they were kind of weirded out since when I showed it and they thought it's like a dance from mid-ages or something. But they, after all, they liked it. Um, I also organized some workshops called Polish 101 on a local university where I taught people some basics of Polish. So they actually knew how to, introduce yourself and say hello or something like that. Um, They were horrified too when I like showed them our alphabet. They were just like, "What are you showing? Like, how is that working? We don't understand." And I also told them Konstantinopolitańczyk Koraneczka, and they laughed so bad, so bad. Um, so yeah, we also had some classes where we taught about the culture and the culture differences between America and other countries. And I taught them some history. Um, yeah, I think that would be about it. So, mm, Americans are really open, and that's a part of their culture too. They're really kind, especially for strangers, and they're very polite. So if you're a stranger, they're just walking down the street, and if you meet someone that you've never met before, and someone just asks you like, "Hey, how are you? How's your day?" That's like totally normal. So it took me a while to get used to that, but after all, I really liked it too, and I actually kind of miss it here. Since people don't really just, start to talk randomly with strangers. And yeah, people are very open, and they're especially open for foreigners. So when you when you said you're from a different country, they were like, totally fine about it, and they usually ask you questions. Um, Typically, Americans are also bad in geography, so um,
Yeah.
I could mention just a few people that actually knew where Poland is. So, I remember one girl, she asked me where I'm from, so I told her I'm from Poland, and she said like, "Oh, what?" I said Poland. She's like, "Oh, where is that?" Like she didn't even knew that's a country. So like, okay. Um, some questions might be funny. Some people ask me if Poland is a part of Germany or stuff like that. Yeah, I know it seems to be so weird for us, but I guess they just really didn't know. So I never got really offended by those questions. I just try to, explain them everything so they could really understand. Um, what else? Also, some typical stuff about American culture is that everything is big, everything is huge, as you probably could expect it to be. Like the street, the streets are wide. The cars on the streets are even bigger. Like every second car is a truck. Um, the meals are huge. Everything is just huge. The houses, like their houses are probably the size of like, I don't know, 1.5 hour house. Um,
Oh wow.
so like yeah, sometimes it really takes time to get used to that, but sometimes it's even harder to get used to, your normal life when you're back into your country. I remember when I came back and I stepped into my home and I was like, why is that house so small? Like I was just weirded out. And like, why is my bed so small? Like, what's going on here? It was so weird. It was so weird. And all the stores, everything is so huge. Um, I remember when I first went to a store with my host mom, I asked her if she considers it as a big store, and she said like no. But let me tell you, it was the size of like our Auchan at least. So, and that wasn't a big store at all. So you can just imagine, you can just imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So crazy, right?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of more stuff like, that you would never expect. Like the water in the sinks tastes completely different, or even the fruits taste differently. But those are just some things that you would never expect. And I think I mentioned the most general ones. So yeah, nothing else really comes to my mind right now. So if you have any questions,
Okay.
just feel free to ask.
Okay. Maybe you know that was one whole year.
Mhm.
What does your skip?
Yeah, I feel like my English did improve for sure. Um, I don't think I've ever had a big problem to communicate in English. Like if I was forced to speak in English, I just did it. But I was obviously never forced to speak English like 24/7. So it took me a while to get used to that. Of course, at the beginning, I had some, like headaches and everything, because it's just really tiring to, just think all the time in a different language. But yeah, after all, it worked out pretty well, I would say. Um, a funny situation when I was going back and I was in the airport in Chicago. I just started to talk with a random guy. He was like, an older man. Um, and we were just talking. He kind of tried to help me out with my luggage. And he finally asked me where I'm going to. So I said, I'm going back to Poland. And he asked me, like, wow, wait, are you from Poland? I thought you were from North America or something because of your accent. And I'm like, all right, thanks. I'm gonna take that one. So yeah, um, I also just really get to know, like, some American slang, because that's some things that they don't really teach us in school. And also the English that they teach us at school, it's more like British English, but they don't really talk about American English, and it's, let me tell you, it's such a different thing. Um, not only the accent, but just some words are spelled completely different, or just the way they communicate. For example, probably most of the Americans I knew um, didn't talk, didn't speak in English correctly. Like they would just make some funny mistakes. Like they wouldn't say he doesn't, but he don't. Just some things that we would never think of. You could tell, and it's just sound strange for us, but they would just say stuff like that and be fine with it. So yeah, they always cut some words short. Like you could probably see here actually that I tend to say cuz be like instead of because. So that's just a thing that I just got used to, and it's just hard to fix it right now. So I would have to really focus on what I'm saying, but usually it just comes out like, randomly. So yeah, what else did I get from my exchange? I would say, for sure, um, confidence. I'm more confident about myself, and I feel like I'm able to manage any situation, and I'm not afraid of like going somewhere on my own. Or I even flew back home on my own in the middle of the pandemic, and I was going. That was my first flight on my own. And I flew to one of the biggest airports in the world, the one in Chicago. So it was pretty terrifying, but I did it. I survived. So after that, I feel like, I can do anything. And that feeling is just amazing. It's so encouraging. Um, and you just really, like, your eyes are just opening widely. You just feel like you can do so many things. And during your exchange, you see people living so many, like living their lives in so many different ways. And you just feel like, all right, I don't need to follow one path. I can just do with my life whatever I want. And um, when you do that volunteering, and when you do to teach people your culture, your history, your language, you just feel encouraged to share more about the country you're from, and you do feel encouraged to actually make a difference in the world. It might sound like some pretty big words, but you really do feel like it. Um, so yeah, and obviously I gained friends and a family abroad, since like the relation between me and the host family I had, it's so strong, and we are just like best friends, and I really do feel like I have a
Aww.
second family in the like, in the completely different part of the world. And I have friends all around the world, from, Greece, Mongolia, Tajikistan, some countries that you would never hear of, from Japan, from Thailand, from Brazil, pretty much anywhere. Um, So yeah, it is really cool. I can tell. Um, you also feel more mature after you come back, and you do realize that you left being a little bit of a kid, but you came back stronger, and you do have some you went through some stuff, because exchange is not always just fun, and exchange is not always easy, and sometimes you just have to go through some hard stuff, um like homesickness, and you miss your family, and you miss your friends, and you miss your closest ones, and you miss all the traditions you have, or you would like to spend holidays with your family instead of being there. um there are just so many things, and you can feel depressed, you can feel really sad because of that, but you kind of just have to deal with that, because you have people all around you that are willing to help you, and just take advantage of what you have and what you do, because you might feel like you want to come back, but in most of the cases you do not really want that to happen. You just have to realize how lucky you are, and you just have to, take the best out of your exchange. So yeah, I think that's it.
So, can you give you some advice for people who are thinking about apply to program like Flex? or something like
Yeah,
that?
sure. So, first of all, and the most important, just don't be afraid. Because I know it's scary, because I've been there. I was scared of going abroad. I was scared of what could happen, but just do not be afraid, because after all, you will not regret it. Um, and even though you have to leave your friends and your family, and probably in some cases you have to repeat a school year, it's totally worth it. So, if you have a chance to apply for something like that and actually change your life, just do it, because it's a really life-changing um, thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Um, I think, do you have something to tell more, or do you think that it's all that you can share with us?
No, that's definitely not all I want to share with you, but I hope to organize um, some workshops or something like that where I can tell more about my story, but it'll happen probably in the fall, I hope. Um, and yeah, I encourage everyone who would like to know more about me and my story to just contact me, reach out, and I will always be glad to tell you more. Yeah, and I think that's it. Thank you for the interview. It was so nice to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for tell your story and for the interview.
Hmm. Thank you.